Hi everyone, welcome to another webinar from StrataPrime. Today we're going to talk about Agispace. It's a new and exciting Google product, so I'm really excited to talk to you about it. My name is Jad. I'm a Google Cloud Solution Architect with StrataPrime, and I'm here with Amir from Google. I'll let you introduce yourself.
Thank you, Jad. My name is Amir Yani, and I am a customer engineer at Google Cloud. I've been with Google for about 2 years, and today we're talking to you from the Toronto office.
All right, so Agispace. I think what I like to start to talk about is, what is the problem that Agispace is trying to fix? Because we already have a lot of AI tools. We already hear about AI all over. So what makes Agispace special? First thing that comes to mind is siloed data. Like nowadays, we have data everywhere. Data is very valuable, but all of our data is constantly being siloed. I'm finding myself always looking through like 5, 6, 7 sources of data to find the data that I'm looking for.
100%.
Yeah.
And to add to what you were saying is, this is not just only applied to data, but I think it also applied to agents. Because again, there's multiple locations where you can find agents. They're all over the place. So what about thinking for a solution that would combine all your agents in one place and giving you lots of abilities to do more actions against these agents and do lots of stuff against this agent? So Agispace actually came in to solve this problem as well, which is combining data and agents.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like also being able to combine all this data together kind of allows you to do some enrichment to your data, right? So bringing data from source one and potentially enriching it with data from source two and bringing you more value with your data.
Absolutely. And one of the other things that I would like to add for Asian Space, which is really unique, is if you think about your data, now Asian Space as an engine that has access to your data, to your agents, and lots of internal resources, you know what this will lead as well? It will lead to have less hallucinations. And the reason why is because agent space is grounding the information against your actual data that lives in Drive, lives in Calendar, lives in email, and multiple other sources that agent space has access to. So if you think about it from a holistic point of view, this means less hallucination. So data, agents, enrich data, and what I like the last part, which is making sure less hallucinations and giving you more accurate data.
Absolutely. All right, well, now that we spoke about what is the problem that Agispace is trying to solve, let's dive into the pieces of Agispace. What parts of Agispace are there? So the first thing that I can think of is data connectors. That's really what enables you to do that enterprise search across your organization. We all know Google is very famous for its, search. So, what better thing to bring that into your own enterprise, being able to use it with your own data sources. So what are some data sources that we can connect to Agispace, Amir?
Yeah, great point. Well, when we start talking about sources, you can think about it in two ways, maybe more. The first one to think about it is what we call the first party sources. And first party are Google products. You can think about things like starting from like Google Calendar, Google Email, and Google Drive. This is what we call like first party connectors. And then we have third party connectors, and some of these examples can be like some of the Microsoft products like OneDrive, Outlook. You can think about Jira, you can think about other products like, for example, like Confluence, and many, many other products. All these are considered sources. There's also a third arm or third branch where we call them like custom sources, and these are the ones that you spend a little bit more time building yourself and connecting it to Agispace.
Yeah, actually, that's what I like about Agispace is that you're not really limited to the available connectors. You can actually build your own connector if you're willing, right? So you're not really limited if you have a data source that's a little bit more niche. You can always, as long as there's an API, you can build your connector. Some of the examples that I like to think of for Agispace, especially when it comes to enterprise search and how it can combine that data from different sources to kind of build that story for you. Like one perfect example that I use personally is I like to go in there and kind of remind myself like, hey, can you tell me what I worked with this customer on in the last meeting? And it kind of takes, my meeting notes, my calendar invites, any emails that I've like communicated with the customer, and it kind of builds that story for me to remind me and put me up to speed. Even like from a forecasting and like creating new data point of view, It's really great for doing things like sales forecasting and other things like that. All right, so let's talk about agents. I like to think of agent space as a space for you to bring your agents into, right? So, and even before we dive into full-on agents, I think an important piece in or an important feature in agent space is what we call actions, right? What sort of actions can we do on agent space, Amir?
Great question. There's again, Google started building actions and embedded it into agent space. And some of these examples are actions that you can do against your email, against your calendar, against some of the third-party tools like Jira and etc. And let me give you an example. So for example, what you can do is you can go to agent space, and because your email is integrated with agent space, what you can do is you can ask agent space to do a search for you on some data that lives in an email, and you can take actions. And the kind of actions that you can take, you can say, for example, send an email to Jad and ask him to discuss things that we talked about last week, for example, in a meeting. Some of the other actions you can do is you can send calendar invites. And let's say, for example, Jad, I want to set a calendar invite to have a meeting with you in, like, let's say for on Friday. All what I need to do is just type and say, set a meeting with Jad. Maybe, like, again, if it knows Jad, or if it doesn't know Jad, it's gonna ask me about his email. If it knows Jad, then it will tell me I'm gonna send an email to Jad, and then from there, it's very straightforward. Authorize the email. This is some examples of actions that you can do with an agent space.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you can even take actions like creating a Jira ticket or even like
There you
sending
go.
an email using Outlook, so not just Gmail.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and what's great is that on top of actions, you can actually have your full-on agent in there as well. So there's actually many ways to bring in agents in there. There's already some out-of-the-box agents that Google gave us access to, and we can also, even bring in a third-party agents that we've purchased off like the GCP marketplace. We even have, I believe, our own custom agents, right? So we have many ways to bring a custom agent in, right?
Correct. Uh, and when it comes to custom agents specifically, like the way I think about it is like sky is the limit. You can design an agent and embed like actions that you think will answer all your business needs that this agent was designed for. So you can create the agents and create all the actions in it. And whatever this agent is, whatever it does, you can embed the actions and make it very nice and clear what these agents can and cannot do using actions. So there's lots of customization that's built into like the out of the box agents. And as I said, again, it's sky's the limit.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean I love that there's a feature too to like implement no-code agents right into
Yeah.
Agispace. So if you have any users that have any repetitive tasks and they'd like to create their own agents, they have the capability of doing that, and they can even use these actions that we discussed previously about like sending a Gmail, like an email from your Gmail, or creating a calendar event. You can have these no-code agents actually utilize these actions to do things for you.
Yeah. You reminded me of, like, again, I was talking to one of my customers and he said, like, Amir, like, what can I do with no code agents? And one of the things we did on the fly, just really quickly, is you go to agent space, go to under agents, create a no code agent. One of the examples that they really liked is uh, like an agent that will look into all your calendar because it's integrated with calendar, and it will find the spots, the empty spots in your calendar for it to book meetings with others, rather than you like spending time going into your calendar and discussing back and forth options. Because it has access to your calendar, like let's say for example I'm trying to book you,
Yeah.
it has access to both our calendars. The agent will find the spot that is free for both of us, and it will book the meeting. As long as we provide some very minimal instructions using natural language, like, for example, don't book Jad before 8 a.m. and don't book Jad after 5 p.m. Same thing apply with Amir. And so the agent will go in and do this for you. Can you imagine like how much time do you save with this? This is with just no code agent. You don't need to have any experience with coding whatsoever.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I've definitely spent a lot of time looking into other people's calendars to make sure
Yeah.
there's, we have time in common. So this is definitely a very useful feature. So to conclude, these two parts of Agispace, data connectors plus agents, allow you to find data, understand the data better since you're amalgamating all this data from different data sources. And then thirdly, your agents allow you to take actions on it. So we have actions and agents that allow you to take actions on this data, right? So that's really great. But one worry or concern that I hear a lot of customers talk about is access control, right? So we don't want users who are not supposed to have access to data to be able to retrieve it using Agispace, right? So Agispace does have a solution for that, right, Amir?
Correct. And what Agispace is going to do is it will inherit all the policies and the rules that are either embedded into your application or embedded, for example, in Workspace. Once it inherits all these rules, it will apply them. So let's give like our audience some example. Like let's say, for example, there's a document that's shared between me and you. If a third person tries to access this document, they will not be able to do so. And why is this? Is the document has rules and policies that only share between the two of us. This is exactly what Agent Space inherits. So these policies will apply across the board.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually great too because now I don't need to manage my ACLs across two different
Exactly.
places, right? I don't need to worry about Agispace and my data sources. I can just, rest assured that all my ACLs are being inherited and I just have to focus on my data sources.
Absolutely.
This is great. So one other concern that I hear from our customers is data privacy concerns. So from what I understand, Google has done a great job of keeping your data, right?
Absolutely, 100%. I will repeat the message that Google has been saying all the time is your data is your data. What this means is we do not train Gemini models on customer data. So your data is stored on data stores and nobody has access to your data. So Gemini models are only trained on public data. It's not trained on any customer data.
That's awesome. That makes definitely myself and many of our customers, much more reassured.
Yeah.
Let's jump into some frequently asked questions that I hear often asked by some of our customers. And the first one that comes to mind is, what is the difference between Agentspace and the Gemini chat app that my users use, through their workspace subscription? First thing for me that I think about when someone asks me that question is, well, first of all, Agispace uses retrieval augmented generation, which we call RAG, and that is grounding itself with the data of your enterprise, and it reduces hallucinations, and it also even gives you information that is more relevant to your organization. Can you think of any other differences that you want to share?
Yeah, good points. In addition to what you said, like when we think about Agent Space, from a data perspective, Agent Space is designed to give you access for your internal data. So think about it like this. So it gives you access to internal data. It's an umbrella where you can combine lots of agents. You can build agents and then use the power of LLM to create actions and do things against this data. Exactly what we talked about early on. And the third part is Agent Space will offer like uh, the enterprise search, agents, and the power of the LLMs. So this triangle or these three pieces what makes Agent Space very unique.
Yeah, and one thing that definitely differentiates Agentspace is the ability to add custom connections, right? Like I know
100%.
Gemini has some connections, but you can't add as many as you want. You're kind of at the mercy of what's available right now.
Yeah.
Definitely good points there.
Jad, I actually have a question for you. Let's now assume that you built an agent. How are you going to bring this agent into Agent Space?
That is a great question, Amir. And we said earlier, Agispace is a space for you to bring in your agents. So if you already have an agent that is internally facing, being used by your internal users, that is a great use case to bring into Agispace. So what we can do is, no matter what model you're using on that agent, you can bring it in, host it on Agent Engine, which is a part of Vertex AI, or Cloud Run. which is a container-based service. And then Agispace settings actually allow you to expose that agent within your organization. So your user will be able to choose between either the first-party agents that are existing or agents that your organization has brought in, or even some no-code agents that users have built.
That's awesome. Okay, Jad, I have one more for you. Do you need to be a workspace customer in order to use or have access to Agispace?
That is a really good question, Amir. So actually the answer is no, you don't. Google has done a great job of making Agispace agnostic. So you're not really limited to workspace connectors. You can actually choose to go with Microsoft connectors. Even if you're a Microsoft shop, you can have connectors for your Outlook Mail, Outlook Calendar, OneDrive, SharePoint, and many more. So this is a really good way for Microsoft customers to be able to come in and use that enterprise search that Google brings to the table.
That's awesome.